What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be giving every team their star rankings. If you have anything that you're trying to rate for like restaurants, games, any of that, they all have a star rating between 1 and 5. Today I want to give those ratings to NFL teams. I haven't thought of any of this before, so we're just gonna run with it how it is. We have our tier list. This is 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars, 2 stars, 1 star. We're gonna go with the 1-star teams. First of all, we're gonna go with the Broncos. Broncos are absolutely horrible. They have nothing. They have PS2, Cortland Sutton, and that's really it. They have a few good offensive linemen, but that's really all that they have now. It's looking rough for them. Our next team, which is going to be 1 star. I don't know how I feel about this, but we're gonna have to go with the Giants. I feel like we have a few teams that could go down here, and to make room, we're gonna have to put the Giants because there's not too many that deserve to go down here. Giants have some good defensive pieces, and they have potential on offense. If Devin Singletary can pick up where he left off last season, and Malik Neighbors turns out to be good. Maybe Daniel Jones or Drew Lock get their act together. They have potential. They have some defensive pieces, but nothing that really blows me away. The same thing is kind of for the Cardinals, where it's like they have a ceiling, but they have a big floor. Marvin Harrison Jr. looks good. I kind of like more of their other receivers, but it's just not enough. You have Budda Baker on the defense and a few young guys, but that's really it. There's nothing that you're going to be able to do this year. I forgot them. The Carolina Panthers are also a 1-star team. Dude, this team is really just sad and sorry. It's ridiculous. They have nothing. Bryce Young has great potential, but he's not unlocking it right now. And I don't know what's going to make him unlock it. They have a good new receiving room, some defensive moves which make them both better and worse. For example, removing Brian Burns and replacing him with Jadeveon Clowney. I'm not really sure. That's also going to wrap up our 1-star team. Next up, we have our 2-star teams, the teams that have a little bit of punch in them, but they're not going to blow anybody away. They're not going to make the playoffs, any of that. I'm going to start this off with the Las Vegas Raiders. I do really like some pieces of the Raiders, but their holes are too much. Their defensive line with Christian Wilkins and Max Crosby is absolutely disgusting. But they have no quarterback. Devontae Adams is getting older. Jacoby Myers is really kind of hit or miss some games. It's really just a big question mark for a lot of it. Are their DBs any good anymore? We'll see, but it's looking shaky for them. The next team, which I think perfectly fits this 2-star team, is going to be the Washington Commanders. Dude, the Commanders, they got their brand new quarterback. They bolstered their team with some like random pieces such as Bobby Wagner and Austin Eckler. I don't know if they're just trying to get some experience for the young guy, but they have a bunch of holes still, and they're not doing anything this year. I'm thinking that they go maybe like 7-10, but nothing too good. Next up, Next up, we have the Patriots. I think this is probably going to be the last team for this tier, at least for right now. The Patriots, their defense is super duper solid with Christian Gonzalez, Matthew Judon, and a few other pieces, but that's where it ends. Their offense has Ramondre Stevenson, who we don't even know if he's good yet. He's been injured and hasn't been consistent. On the other hand, we do have a rookie quarterback who looks really good. My second favorite quarterback in the draft class. It's really questionable, but I think they have a little bit of life in them. Looking through it, I can't do it. I gotta put the Saints as a 2-star team. I can't move on from it. The Saints, they've lost their ego. Not their ego, but they've lost it, man. They lost Michael Thomas. Their defense is full with absolute skeletons who, at any moment, could drop into the retirement home. Derek Carr is just not good anymore, hence his replacement with Spencer Rattler. They're just questionable, and I need that free tier for some other teams. That is going to bring us to our 3-star teams. Who is that going to be, is the question. I think I got to put the Titans here. I want to put the Titans in 2-star, but looking at their roster, they have some firepower on them. Their defense has Jeffrey Simmons, L'Jarius Sneed, and some other very good pieces. Their free agency was really good. Their receiver room now consists of D-Hop and Calvin Ridley, who they are old, but they're going to help Will Levis become the best that he can. I don't love Tony Pollard, but Tyjae Spears might be able to overtake him, and we'll see how they fare. Next up, I'm going to have to go with the Chicago Bears. This team is on the cusp of being a 4-star team, and next year, if they do good this year, they might be able to make it. But for right now, they're just not that team. Their receiving room, their offensive weapons are absolutely incredible in general for Caleb Williams, including Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, Gerald Everett, Cole Kmet, and DeAndre Swift. They're stacked. Their defense is pretty good, but they're so questionable, especially with that young of a quarterback being a rookie. Even though he does look generational, we've seen this happen before in people such as Johnny Manziel and, hold up, what's his name? Jamarcus Russell. I don't think Caleb Williams will be that, but it is possible that he falls in there. Next up, we're going to have the Indianapolis Colts. I really like their roster. Anthony Richardson is a little bit questionable, especially with injury history. He might be one of those quarterbacks that starts the season but can never finish them, which really worries me. I like Michael Pittman Jr. and Alec Pierce, but there isn't a lot to work with, especially if you're running with... Actually, they have Joe Flacco, so they might be okay. Their defense, their secondary is absolutely cooked. They're not going to be doing much. They're borderline 2-tier. Next up, I have to put one of my favorite teams, the Seattle Seahawks. Their receiving room is absolutely incredible, having one of the best trios in the league. Their O-line is pretty good, and their defense is really good. They could be a 4-star team if they can produce this year, but I'm just not convinced that Geno Smith can do it. Listen, his year where he first got to the Seahawks, I loved him, but last year, I think the hype was a little bit too much. And I don't know if he can do it, but we will see. I also want to put the Vikings in this tier. JJ McCarthy may not be that guy, and in the process of having such a good team, they lost a lot of their defense, such as Danielle Hunter, who is their breakout player. Along with that, their other best defensive player, Harrison Smith, is just another year older, not going into, what is he, like 32 now? 35 years old. Oh yeah, that's the time period where you start to see guys fall off hard. I love Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison and TJ Hawkinson, and especially now that they have Aaron Jones. I just don't know if they can make it up to the 4-star teams. I'm also going to put the Pittsburgh Steelers here. I know they made the playoffs last year, but they're just not convincing enough for me. I like the quarterback change from Kenny Pickett and Mason Rudolph to Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, but I don't know if it's going to move the needle with them. Coach Tomlin seems like one of the guys that could just get you to 9-8, 10-7, and that's kind of your range. I just don't know if he can really do it. Their defense is really good. They're getting a little bit older. They now have Cooper DeJean, which may not even be a starter for some of the season. We'll just see what they can do. I hate to do it because I love them. The Jags are going to have to close out this tier. Listen, the Jaguars, they are really good, but Trevor Lawrence is so questionable. I really don't like their receiving room changes, especially with getting rid of Calvin Ridley and replacing with Gabe Davis, who I think is a little bit worse. Travis Etienne is really good, and that defense is pretty strong, but I just don't think they can get it done. They're going to end off the 3 stars. Next up, we go to the 4-star teams, the teams that can really, really do something good. But will they? We don't know yet. I'm going to start this off with the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons, they now got Kirk Cousins and Michael Penix at the quarterback room instead of Desmond Ridder and Taylor Heineke, which is a massive improvement. Their offensive studs are disgusting, including Drake London, Kyle Pitts, and Bijan Robinson. Their defense is super strong, consisting of Jesse Bates. I always get there. AJ Terrell, that's it. I always say Asante Samuel. AJ Terrell, and then that defense. It took a few hits on the D-line, but they're still looking pretty strong. They have really good potential this year. Also going to go with the Buccaneers here, another NFC South team. They are really strong looking, but I just don't know about them. Baker seems to have a flukier few games with every team. But then again, he did make history being the first ever quarterback to have a perfect pass rating in Lambeau that's not on the Packers. It's really, really possible that they do well, and it's possible that they fall off. Mike Evans is super old, and he's trying to keep his 1,000-yard streak competitive with Jerry Rice. We'll see what they can do, but I don't love it. I do love Antoine Winfield, though. Their defense did take some hits. might get some backlash, but I'm putting the Packers in the 4-star teams. I just can't do it, man. The Packers, on paper, they don't look really good. Jordan Love looks pretty good. Their receiving room just doesn't look great. I don't love Luke Musgrave. Jaden Reed is really good, but I'm not sold on Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson. Josh Jacobs is really good with his 2,000-yard year a few years ago, but I just don't know if he could produce like that anymore. It might have just been one of those fluke years that we see every once in a while. Their defense is really good with Jair Alexander, but they also lost some people such as Devondre Campbell. I just don't know if they can really move that needle. Oh, I forgot the Chargers. The Chargers are going to be moved to a 3-star team. Sorry, I forgot of them. I saw the logo and thought about the really good Chargers. But they're not that good anymore, losing both Keenan Allen, Gerald Everett, and Mike Williams in free agency. Along with that, their defense is looking older. Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack just get older and older, reaching further and further towards the retirement home. I love Derwin James and Asante Samuel, but can they save this defense? I'm not too sure. Their offense, Justin Herbert, is of course incredible. But they got rid of their tight end and their entire receiving room. And their running backs. And it's just really questionable if they can move that needle or not. But I don't think they can. Next up in the 4-star tier is going to be the New York Jets. The Jets, they look good. They looked really good last year. They just look better this year. Can Aaron Rodgers stay healthy? And if he does stay healthy, can he stay good? That's the big question. He's getting to that age where you start sitting as a backup like Matt Ryan did. But Aaron Rodgers and Matt Ryan are not the same people. I think it's really sketchy. Their offensive line is really good, but super old and very injury prone. The receivers are nice, adding Mike Williams, who did suffer from a few injuries. Garrett Wilson is incredible. Sauce Gardner is incredible. That defense looks super nasty, but I don't think that they're a 5-star team yet, nearly. I gotta put the Rams here too. I think that they are really, really good, but that defense just still isn't selling me, especially with Aaron Donald leaving. You replaced him with Jared Verse, but can he fill that hole? Aaron Donald is one of the best defensive players that we have ever seen in the league, and you just can't replace him even if he was old. He was still one of the best defensive players. You also got Trey White, which I really like, and now the Puka Nacua breakout and the healthy Cooper Kupp, and it might really help. Kyren Williams is young and looks super good. I'm just not sold, and Matthew Stafford is at that retirement age. I don't know if they can do it. Honestly, I also have to put the Miami Dolphins in this tier. I really like the Dolphins. I do, but I'm not sure if they can do it. If they're not in warm weather, they just don't produce. I know that playoff game was... it was disgusting. It was the 4th coldest game in NFL history. Yeah, it was -4 degrees. So I think that people are over-exaggerating for how bad that they were. But still, you can't produce that little. Tua Tagovailoa, I'm not sure if I'm sold on him yet. Tyreek and Jalen Waddle, of course, are incredible, but soon enough they are going to be in cap hell, especially with that new Jalen Waddle contract. The running back duo is disgusting, and they could probably get value out of Raheem Mostert in a few years once he gets too old to really produce more than Devon Achane. I like their offense. Their defense lost a few players. I love Jalen Ramsey, but I don't know if he can stay healthy. Their defensive, Christian Wilkins left, a few other guys left. It's really questionable. I gotta bite the bullet. I'm putting the Bills in there too. I think these two teams are neck and neck for the AFC East title with the Jets. The Bills they lost so many people, man. They lost Stephon Diggs, and they also lost Gabe Davis. They replaced him with Keon Coleman and Curtis Samuel, and Khalil Shakir is going to probably step up. I'm just not sure if they will. Their defense lost so many people. It's ridiculous. They had that 1 week where they released half of their defensive starters. I don't think that they can do that. And I think next year they might be a 3-star team. You just can't be a 3-star team when you still have Josh Allen coming off of an almost MVP year. The only MVP vote that did not go to Lamar Jackson went to Josh Allen. I have to do it. Bengals are going in the 4-star tier instead of the 5-star tier. I have to. Listen, if I put the Bills there, I have to put the Bengals there. It's like a chain. Dolphins, Bills, Bengals. It's a chain. The Bengals, I'm not completely sold on them. I'm really not. I love the duo between Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, and I don't really care that Tyler Boyd left. He was getting old, and they replaced him with a rookie, so they should be fine. Joe Mixon and Zach Moss is a loss, but it is going to be Really good for their cap hit. They got Mike Gesicki, who I think is a really nice tight end. Also, Joe Burrow, they still have him, but can he stay healthy? Listen, the calf injury wouldn't really affect his throwing, but when your wrist goes out mid-game and you can't return for the season, that's risky. I don't know what they can do. They still have Jake Browning as a backup if needed, but it's scary. They did bolster their defense, adding some people such as Geno Stone, and there's another, oh my god, who am I forgetting? There's a really big one. Oh, I don't know who I was thinking of. But I mean, look at this defense, man. It's ready to step up. It really is. It's absolutely disgusting, and then the special teams is also really good. I just don't know if they can make the Super Bowl and be that 5-star team. Finally, we have our 5-star teams. These are the teams that they're just stacked and disgusting. We'll start out with the Cleveland Browns. I think they are one of the worst 5-star teams. I was debating them and the Bengals to be in the 4-star because I don't want 3 teams from that division to be up in the 5-star team. But I think they moved the needle considering that they have Rob Defensive Player of the Year, Myles Garrett, along with Darius Smith. They have those incredible corners and DBs in general. And then that offense, you have Nick Chubb coming back from injury. Whether he's the same or not, even if you get a little bit of a decline off of him, he's still going to be really good. And if not, you have tons of depth at the running back room. Your receivers are also really nice. Bring in Jerry Jeudy, who is a young guy who can learn a lot from Amari Cooper. They have some similar play styles. I think that Deshaun Watson isn't great, but he did lead you to, an 8-2 record last year? They look good. They look great. Next up, we do have the Cowboys. They cannot make it to the Super Bowl. They can't win the playoffs. But they... just look at that roster, man. It's disgusting. On the offense, you have people such as Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb. I like Jake Ferguson a lot. You do have Zeke Elliott as your halfback. And your offensive line did take some hits, but it's still looking disgusting, especially when you look at that defense with DeMarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons, one of the best young players in the league, and some other guys such as Trayvon Diggs and Deron Bland. Like, it's so good, dude. You're stacked. You just can't win the playoff. You also have the Lions. The Lions are coming off of their curse. They are really breaking out under Dan Campbell. For the first time in a really long time, like decades of pain. I really love Amon-Ra St. Brown. He is my wide receiver 6. I do like A.J. Brown a little bit better than him. And then you have Jared Goff, who is still pretty young. Not pretty young, but he's still kind of young. He has time. He still has a lot of time, is what I'm trying to say. Gibbs and Montgomery is probably the best halfback duo in the league. Laporta is disgusting, and you have one of the best O-lines in the league. Last year, defense really held you back, but you added people such as DJ Reader and Cam Sutton. Nope, Cam Sutton is not on that team. He's on the Steelers. And Carlton Davis. They have a bunch of people who I really like on that defense, especially like Aiden Hutchinson and Brian Branch. They have tons of potential to repeat what they did. Of course, we have the Kansas City Chiefs. Come on now. You can't say no to the Kansas City Chiefs. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce. That enough. Like, that alone is enough for you to be a good team. Other than that, they did add Hollywood Brown and Xavier Worthy, who is going to destroy defenses. And if you have Rashee Rice for most of the season, I don't know if he's going to get suspended or not for the car incident. It's still disgusting, and you have a great O-line. Their defense is absolutely stacked still, even though they lost some people. Trent McDuffie, Chris Jones, Nick Bolton, etc., etc. You have stars everywhere. And Harrison Butker, even if you don't like him, he's still great. He's still one of the best kickers in the league. We also have the Houston Texans. Come on now, guys. Hold on, let's look at their roster. No, let's look at this team compared to 2022. Only a few years ago. You go from Davis Mills to CJ Stroud, which is one of the greatest leaps that I can think of. You go from Dameon Pierce to Joe Mixon. By the way, both those guys are the backups now. You go from Nico Collins to Stephon Diggs. And then, hold on. Brandon Cooks to Nico Collins. And then Chris Moore to Tank Dell. That is disgusting. Also, OJ Howard to Dalton Schultz. That O-line is absolutely disgusting when healthy, even though I don't know if they can stay healthy. And that defense, look at the jump. Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter are going to be disgusting. I love bringing Danico Autry and Azeez Al-Shahir. Derek Stingley Jr. and Jalen Pitre are disgusting. I like Jeff Okudah and Jimmy Ward. It's one of the best teams in the league, and I really like the addition of Tommy Townsend on that special team. We also have the Baltimore Ravens. This team, you add Derrick Henry to that offense. Your offense consists of Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Zay Flowers, and Mark Andrews. Along with that, you have a great O-line still, and your defense, although it did take some hits such as Patrick Queen and Geno Stone, you still have Kyle Hamilton, Marlon Humphrey, Roquan Smith, Justin Madubuike, Michael Pierce. You're stacked on both sides of the ball. And you have the best kicker in history. You have no excuse this year. Then we also have the Philadelphia Eagles. This team is gross. Look at this. Think about this offense. Can you imagine an offense consisting of Jalen Hurts, almost MVP, Saquon Barkley, former Rookie of the Year, who's still incredible, AJ Brown and Devontae Smith, and I think they brought in one more dude, and Paris Campbell, paired up with Dallas Goedert. Along that, you have, even though you don't have Jason Kelce, you still have one of the best O-lines in the league around it. You can cover up that center issue if you have some of the best tackles and guards in the game. Along with that, the defense did have issues last year, but it's mostly fixed right now. You're good. You're just good. Then you have the 49ers to end this list off. I don't think I really have to say much. Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Talanoa Hufanga. Those are just the 3 names on the defense who are incredible. On the offense, CMC, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk. Those are just 3 on that side of the ball. You are stacked. So that's going to conclude this video. This is the final tier list of stars. Going back over it, your 1-star teams are the Broncos, Giants, Cardinals, and Panthers. 2-star teams are the Raiders, Commanders, Patriots, and Saints. 3-star teams are the Titans, Bears, Colts, Seahawks, Vikings, Steelers, Jaguars, and Chargers. Your 4-star teams are the Falcons, Buccaneers, Packers, Jets, Rams, Dolphins, Bills, and Bengals. And your 5-star teams, the best of the best, are the Browns, Cowboys, Lions, Chiefs, Texans, Ravens, Eagles, 49ers. If you enjoyed, like and subscribe. Goodbye.